Hola, witches.
Hello.
Welcome. Tonight, we are going to be sharing with you how to conduct a seance. It's going to be super fucking fun, and we're super excited about sharing this with you. We've been planning this forever. It's just like something that just I think Melissa came up with, and she's like, "Let's do this." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And then we're doing it, and it's a perfect fucking time for us to share how to communicate with the spirits, how to create how to conduct a séance, and yes.
Yeah.
So, Miss Melissa, what is a séance?
A seance, a seance is communicating. You have a circle, usually mostly comprised of mundanes, and a medium conducts the seance. You all sit in a circle, and the medium is the conduit, the channel to communicate with spirits. And that is like the very basic version of a
That's
seance.
like the super fucking basic version, which
Yeah.
is it's like you need to understand that you need to know like the basic expression of what a seance is, and at the same time, a seance is about theatrics. It's about the glamour. It's about the event.
Yeah.
It's about creating the atmosphere because you do like you see it everywhere, and it helps you to connect and raise that energy. So as Melissa said, that is your basic outline of the seance, and then you layer it. Then you add fun to it. Then you add the glamour, the different tools and the different experiences. So let's talk about the setup. Like, how do we set up? And let's talk about the glamour, the theatrics, and all of that, and why it's important to create an event when you have a seance. And I know some people are going to be pissed off that we're talking about like it being glamored and eventful, and being theatrics with all of it because they're going to get offended. Like that's not what we do. But that's the fun of having and conducting a seance, y'all. Let's just be real.
Well, not only that, it is if you have done a seance before, most of you probably know that the majority of the people that are at the seance are your mundane friends. I mean, the first seance I ever conducted, I was like 17 years old, and everybody was a mundane but me. So the theatrics are part of it. You have to have that to, just like, you hear people say that, not that I believe this way, but that tools, altar, and stuff helps get the mind right. That's their main purpose. I don't believe that. But for mundanes, that is straight up the truth. You need to have the candles. You need to have everyone in a circle. They have an expectation of what a seance is because everyone has seen a seance performed on TV. So you need those theatrics. You need that glamour to set the mood, get people in the moment, and have their mind right.
Yeah,
So because those energies are important to you as the medium.
right,
We're going
absolutely.
to go into the energies more here in a minute.
Yes, absolutely. And I am a big believer of, especially when it comes to seance, of creating that environment. And that was weird. Anyways, when you have, oh, that was just strange. When you have mundanes around and you're creating that event, that atmosphere for them, you really do need to be able to manipulate their energy so they're in the right state of being. Whoa. Um, in order.
I wasn't going to say anything. I thought about being like, look behind you, Michael! But then I didn't want you to freak out.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you have to create that the atmosphere, and so when yes, so oh my gosh, okay, snap back. Let's just be present. Uh, it is about being able to manipulate the energy and help them to get in that state of being, that mind frame to have a better seance, have a better experience, because they can still be skeptical, but they also need to be a little bit submissive to energy flow, so that when you create this energy and when you contact spirit, that they are in that setting where they want it, they're kind of nervous about it, but they're like, it's cool, let's do this, let's be a part of this experience. And so that's why it's really important for you to set the tone and create that environment, and have that experience for them. And it creates you have the ability to create a positive mindset around spirit communication and spirit contact with mundanes, and that's just you have the opportunity to create that for them. You create that event, that glamour, that setup where they're expecting, but then you follow through with having an actual legit experience. You bring messages, you bring healing, you bring that connection, and so they can trust that. They're like, oh, that was cool. It's not as crazy or as bad as I thought it was. So yes, theatrics are important during this time, and it's just fun. It's a fun thing to do, but you still have to have respect. You still honor spirit. You're not changing that. You're not degrading anything. You are empowering the situation by owning that environment.
Right, exactly. Theatrics do not mean charlatan. Theatrics do not mean setting up, fans so the candles wave. We're not talking about that. We're talking about setting up the environment. Just like you would create a sacred space for your work, you create this environment for a seance. And honestly, you do want it to be a sacred space. And we can go into how you would create that space and how you would prep your participants, because they are mundanes and you don't want to send them into a seance totally unguarded and vulnerable, especially when you are a witch and you know that you are going to be making spirit contact for sure. This isn't Hollywood, it's the real deal.
Right.
So, how would you, Michael, set up the space? How would you start to set up?
I prefer, okay, so let's just go from the beginning. I prefer an environment where it's a little more open, so if there's a lot of just a lot of shit, I clear that environment. I get rid of clutter. I make sure that there's an open space so energy can flow better, because when there's a lot of clutter, when there's a lot of furniture, when there's a lot of shit, energy attracts there, energy gets stuck. And so when you have a clearer space, it helps energy to move, because I'm using my hands. It helps energy to move faster and fluid, and it's easier for the setting of the seance to be empowered and for messages to flow through with mundanes there, because you don't have all this other shit hindering it. So I like to clear the space. I like to clean. I like to get rid of dust. I like to move furniture out. I like to create a very distinct space for my peeps. And I prefer like a round table if possible, or just a table that's smaller, not this long ass table where you can't really reach anyone unless you're having a lot of people. That's different. But if it's just a small circle, then I like to make sure that we're close enough together where our energy is connecting, and it's easier for the mundanes there. Before I allow them into the circle, I will prep them. We discuss about what they can expect. We discuss that, you might feel cool. You might feel like someone's touching you. You might hear things. Don't break the circle. Don't freak out. Don't get, just embrace that experience. Your body temperature may shift. That's to be expected. I help them to understand the whole process, and then this is my handy dandy sage, y'all. I will probably sage, and if they don't like the smoke, I have a spray, I have sage essential oil, and I mix it with maybe some Palo Santo essential oil, and I spray them down. And I add a little bit of lavender in just to help calm their nerves. But I like to either smudge with something that's appropriate, and then I like to, or spray, and to help set the tone, help calm their nerves, help, get rid of the funk. I'll brush their aura. Yes, I do this. I can brush the aura, and I help get rid of any cords, any attachments. I get rid of things that are not going to be beneficial to the seance, to the experience, because I want them to be clean, clear, and able to have the best experience that they can. So I will make sure to prep them with a smudge or a spray, and then I make sure to look at their aura and see if I need to get rid of cords, and then they are set at the table. And right. So we have, and we were talking about this, the other day, how I set them at the table is basically, whatever. Okay, witch. I'll have like witch, and you say like skeptic, and then I make sure to have an even distribution of energy. So if there's a person of power, a person of magical influence, if I have a couple, then I'll have one, then have like a skeptic, and then have a believer that might not be magically oriented, and then I'll have another witch, and I'll like have that process through, because for me, when we are contacting spirit, that helps with energy flow, that helps with everything processing, so that keeps things even more exciting.
Right, exactly. And I'm like you, I would clear the space, clear furniture, good flow. I would probably, before anyone came into the room, light some mugwort and sort of, smudge the room with a little mugwort, get those psychic energies going. Sweet grass, that will attract the nicer spirits, the sweeter spirits.
Yes.
And like you said, I cannot stand the way sage smells when burning, so I would probably go with the Palo Santo as far as smudging people. And I really enjoy it. It's uplifting, it's protecting. And obviously you want to be prepared in case someone doesn't want to do the smoke thing. Some people do have allergies and things like that. So a spray would be great too. I would definitely have like incense in the room. Usually, probably lavender, a little bit of lavender going. Frankincense maybe. To really pull it, protective, but also uplifting, and you have that spirit connection. So I enjoy having incense going. It helps people too. It helps calm them down. They smell familiar smells, and they're not as excited. And like Michael expressed, look at their aura, get rid of any kind of that you don't want following into the circle. Because, you don't want to have them attached, or anything attached to them that would be fed off this energy of this seance. Because there's a lot of just raw, primal energy in a seance, and any kind of negative entity or energy that's attached to any mundane could be fed from that, and you don't want that. So that's another reason why it's really important. And like Michael said, set everybody out, kind of space people out before I actually invite people into the room. I would work the room. Find out who your skeptics are. Find out who your believers are. Find out who has like some raw, untapped mediumship skills.
Mm-hmm.
As a witch, you should be able to tap into that and see that. The skeptics are going to be loud anyway. They're going to be the talkers. They're like, this is all bullshit, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be really easy to find your skeptics.
Right.
And it's going to be really easy to find your believers. Those are the people that are super excited. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be so much fun. I'm really excited. And those kind of people I like to ground some, because sometimes they're overly excited.
Right. Right.
So, and bring them in and spread the energy out, y'all. You can work with skeptic energy just as it can feed your seance just as powerfully as the believer. You
Yeah.
just have to know how to work that energy, and blend it and mold it and channel it and change that skeptic energy from I don't think this is real to just a powerful force that feeds into that circle.
Right.
And it can be really powerful. So like Michael said, me, skeptic on one side, you know, believer, possible medium on another side, and alternate the witchy people in with the mundanes,
Right.
and spread things around. And to me, that gives you the best energy flow you could possibly have.
Right. I think it's important too, like if you have people who come with friends, it's important to separate them.
Yes,
Because when you have
yes.
friends, their energy connects together and they're just like, they sometimes want to talk to each other. They sometimes just, it's important for their energy to not be together. So
Right, but one
even,
will feed off the other too. One
yeah,
will influence the other involuntarily. If one's super scared, the other one will feel it because they know this person, they're in tune with their energy, so they're going to get super scared.
right. And they can go back, it could go both ways, and it's not necessarily positive. Even with couples, sometimes if they want to be close, it might be best to set them apart, like opposite the other side of the table. So one on this side, and one on this side, so they can still see each other. But yeah, it's great. It's best to separate like friends and people who come together and it's just good to disperse that connection.
Right, exactly. And if you've watched the first season of Penny Dreadful,
Yeah.
that really shows an excellent medium really understanding how to work a room. She granted things don't go the way she wants, but that's because she didn't realize there was a stronger medium in the room, and that is something that you really need to pay attention to. This is where ego can't step in. If there's a stronger medium in the room, you may want to maybe ask if they'll be your spotter and not necessarily have them in the circle, because they could very accidentally take over the connection, and then you don't really have the control you want. You don't know, unless there's someone you know personally and you trust, you don't know how they're going to use that energy, if they're capable of dealing with that energy. You don't know anything.
Right. Right.
So if there's a medium in the room that you can feel is stronger than you, even if you don't know them, they obviously have some kind of form of understanding, and you can ask them to be your spotter. Be like, hey, would you mind sitting out in a circle and watching me? And if I start acting like I'm, falling, about to pass out, come touch my hand, touch my shoulder, or whatever. I usually like to have a spotter that knows me well, though. But
Yeah, it's because
better
they're
tell them
touching.
they can't join.
Yeah.
you know. It's kind of a challenge. Honestly, I've been really thankful not to ever have that happen to me.
Well, yeah. Well, and yeah, it's a very interesting thing. But I think normally, normally people like, mediums who go into this, they'll express like, hey, I do this work as well, or, something like that. Normally there's this exchange of information that
Right.
is honored. So yeah, it's very fun. You have that placement, you have everyone ready to go, and it's important. Like Melissa just expressed, we feel that it's very important to have someone on the outside who is paying attention to how things are flowing, paying attention to time, because you don't want to be in that experience for too. Not you don't want to be there for hours and hours and hours. It's just too much energy to channel, and it's not just possibly dangerous for the conduit, the medium, the channel, but it's more so. I would say more so dangerous for the people who are not aware of what's going on, because they have energy running through them, and they're not trained to handle that energy as much as we are. So it's very important to have a spotter, someone on the outside who is able to pay attention to everything and read body language. You need someone who's going to be able to be in tune, read body language, pay attention and take care of the environment on the outside. Before we move on, I also want to express what I do at times is I will create a special blend. You can take like Himalayan salt, maybe some mugwort, some Dittany of Crete. All I could think of was Damiana. No, Dittany of Crete, because Damiana is a little different.
It's a little different.
And I'll mix like black tourmaline powder in it, and then I'll probably sometimes, not always, I'll use my black obsidian. I'll put a little bit of that in there. I'll mix it and I'll place it around in a circle of the actual table that we'll be sitting at. And I'll make sure that these people understand, don't step through this, step over it. And what that circle does is it purifies, it protects, it intensifies the psychic connection, but it also helps transmute energy that is that's negative. That's not something that's you really want to have a part of your circle. So all
exactly.
Yeah.
And also that's another good thing for, if you have a spotter, they can see if one of your circle participants is being drained, attacked in any kind of way. If something is latched onto them just by body language. If someone starts acting unlike themselves, slumping over, getting really fidgety when they haven't been fidgety, things like that. And you are not going to be able to pay attention to that kind of thing because you are the medium, you're the channel, you're the conduit, you're going to be busy. And when you are the medium and the channel, you lose track of time. You can be, a minute can feel like an hour, and an hour can feel like 10 minutes. It just depends. And like Michael said, you don't want to drain out your participants.
Right.
Right. Because they're not used to, majority of them probably will not be used to having that much energy flowing through them.
Right.
So, and it's dangerous for you as well. You don't want to drain out to where you're not as aware of what the spirits are, how you're channeling, how you're communicating. That is the way. That's how people get possessed, people.
Yeah,
that's how bad shit happens. So you don't want that. So that's another benefit of a spotter. So in your opinion, Michael, how long do you think is a good, comfortable time limit for a seance to be?
Honestly, that is a challenge. I think it depends on how many people are present. I think it depends on what type of people are present. On a minimum, I would say probably 45 minutes to an hour. And the only reason I say 45 minutes is because there's obviously you're going to need time to connect, prepare. So 15 minutes of that is probably just like going through the rundown, like connecting, preparing. So really like 30 minutes of actual channeling, the actual relaying of messages and having spirit come through and present and all of that. So I would say like 45 to an hour.
I agree.
I think that's
that's a time frame.
Yeah, I think that's like the beneficial timeline, that before you start to break, before people get, because people become fidgety, and that's not beneficial to the experience. And people might have to pee. And then this is the thing as well. Before you do the seance, don't have all these like drinks, and don't have heavy food. You can have like light food if you want, like a little snack. Make sure it's very light, so the energy, your energy, as well as the people around you, they're not super heavy. They're not influenced by the food that they just ate. They don't have to keep getting up to go to the bathroom. You want to make sure that you have an hour alone with your people, present and working. without having to have so many interruptions.
And let me tell you, there's nothing more they'll break up a circle faster than someone getting sick to the stomach and puking on the table. So you don't want to have steak and potatoes.
Right.
You know, with like a really sweet, sugary dessert. You want to have like finger foods, you know,
right.
appetizers. Something like fruit, vegetables. You know, if you do have any kind of sandwiches, do like smaller little triangle shaped
like the
sandwiches.
cucumber ones.
It's like, you know, finger foods. That's what you want to do because, like I said, you don't want someone puking. And whenever people aren't used to energy running through them, it can upset your stomach. Just think about the first time you ever connected to any kind of energy in a circle. You know, if you don't ground, it makes you, for some people, it can make you sick to your stomach, really lightheaded, and things like that, which is also why, like I said, it's important to ground the excited people before they ever even get near the room. And really, whenever you're sitting down, you kind of want to ground everybody out.
Well, yeah.
You don't want to ground them too far down because then you won't ever get anything accomplished. But you do want to at least have it a very stable. You're not going to make them sick, you know, whenever you're using that energy flow. Well, so, you know, you don't want it to be, you don't want anyone to have any bad effects because once they start feeling bad, especially as soon as that energy hits and starts to go through them, then your circle's bust. I mean, they're going to be concentrating on the fact that they don't feel well.
Right. And, you know, depending on the type of spirit that comes through, that spirit will affect each individual in a very different way. You might have a spirit who does not feel good, who is sickly, and that sickness, that sickly essence, that energy needs to be expressed. And so you feel it, and other people are more in tune as well. They will feel it as well. And so that creates something. You need to be aware of that. So it's very important that if you do have anything before, you even tell your people, do not go to fucking In-N-Out before you come here. You know, don't go to get a greasy hamburger. You know, don't do that. You need to be, you're not starving. But you need to,
and you can plan food for afterwards. That'll help everyone ground. You can have the big meal afterwards, and that'll help everyone ground. It'll help everybody calm down because depending on the spirit activity that goes on, a lot of them are going to be really super excited or in a state of disbelief or pissed off because you proved them wrong. So, you know, having a nice meal afterwards is a good thing. So you can get everyone, you know, to where their stomachs aren't growling, and you set them down and do this, and then afterwards, that's when you want to drink and eat and just kind of avoid after effects.
So we've discussed kind of like the outline, the preparing of this experience of you know, how to conduct a seance. Now let's get to the really important part, and that is spirit contact, like actually making contact with spirit, and what is necessary before you contact, like do we set a goal, and who not to contact, you know, are there individuals, are there entities, are there spirits that we should not contact, and how to connect and how to disconnect. Miss Melissa, let's talk about spirit contact.
Well, you know, every medium has their way of connecting to the spirit world, connecting to that realm. So if you already have a good routine down, then that's definitely what I would do. Personally, for myself, I like to clear out my energy and then run energy. You know, ground, run energy from earth, from above, have it all, this beautiful, lovely mix in the center, and just run it through. And that is how I prepare to connect to spirit realm. So everyone has their own way. But whatever you do is great as long as it works for you. As far as who to contact, I personally like to go in with some kind of goal in mind. Like, if I know, most of the time you know the people you're conducting a seance with. If you don't know the people, that is what the before party is about. You want to talk to people, sort of get an idea. The ones that are super excited are going to have specific ideas of who they want you to contact. You know, even if you don't know those spirits, you can sort of have those names running around in your mind. So that is a great way to figure out who they're wanting to talk to. Especially if it's someone that everybody in the room has a connection to. You know, whenever you're dealing with a group of people, usually in a party situation or whatever, it's people who know each other. So when they know each other, then a lot of them will have the same person in mind. Personally, I would not waste my time with contacting famous people. People ask all the time. Don't do that. Sure, don't do it on Halloween, because I guarantee you there's 50,000 other people trying to contact them fools already.
Right.
Let them enjoy their afterlife. They're not going to come if they don't know you, if they have no reason to. They're not going to show up. So don't even waste your time. Unless someone there is related to someone famous, you're probably not going to get anything from it. So it's just a waste of time, really. People who have recently died and traumatic deaths. I learned this the hard way, y'all. Well, I think almost all of us have. Teenager, one of your classmates dies in a car wreck. Everybody wants to contact them. It's not usually a good idea. Mainly because they're so traumatized, they just don't even, half the time, don't realize what's going on. And if they do know what's going on, they're still in that state of pain and my life has been cut short. To me, that's someone personally, just from personal experience, those are people I would avoid. You know, someone's grandfather that passed away, 5 years ago, who lived a long life and, passed on, that is a good person to connect to. 9 times out of 10, that person's going to pop up anyway, especially if those people are thinking about them. So, to me, it's just a nice mix of people that they're already talking about, they're already wanting to contact, and anybody that has a personal connection to the people you're with. Those are going to be the easier spirits to connect with.
Absolutely.
Oh, and so disconnecting, I would make sure and run the energy out before you disconnect. Ground it all out. Make sure it's gone so you don't leave people all sick and wondering what the fuck is going on because they still have all this crazy energy all playing around inside them. So running energy, grounding it out, and then connect whenever, it's time for you to stop. So, and a good thing, too, is to tell people, like, okay, we're wrapping up. If you know there's another spirit that's waiting to be, talked to, connected with, or whatever, let people know this is the last one, guys. After this, we're done. We're going to disconnect. Do not break the circle until I've told you it's time to get up and like, I usually have people hold hands. That's the best way to me to run, to connect to those energies. So then be like, okay, we can let go of each other's hands, wipe the sweat off our hands onto our pants, and stand up and leave. And so that's what I do. I disconnect. First, I ground all the energy. Then I disconnect. Thank the spirits. I'm always very respectful. And to me, that is key as well. Respect when working with spirits is important.
Yes, I like you. Oh my gosh. When I connect, and how I connect is very similar to the way Melissa does it, I run energy, and I call forth spirit. I call forth the spirit that we're seeking to connect with. On the rare occasion that we don't know who we're trying to connect with, but we're trying to connect with someone in alignment with someone at the table. If it's general, then I'll just call out to spirit that is in someone, in their highest and best. I'll make sure to keep it positive, keep it uplifting, and then I'll listen and I'll wait for information. but I raise my energy, I raise my vibration. I don't just like run energy, but I also raise and expand my energy in order for me to connect, because when spirit comes through, they have to lower their vibration, they have to lower their energy to meet with us. So if we can raise our energy higher and higher or expand it more, it becomes easier to connect, because then they don't have to work as hard. And sometimes it's like give and take. Sometimes they're working a little harder because you can't quite reach it, so they're lowering their vibration a little more, they're reaching you a little more, or sometimes you're reaching more for them. But I make sure that that energy is raised as best I can so I can connect. And then I listen and I relay the messages. I relay that information. We express. We are the channel. We are the medium. We relay information. We allow for spirit to flow through us. We allow for messages to come forth. We speak on behalf of the dead. We speak on behalf of those who have come before us. We speak on behalf of those who do not have voices. And so we must be very, very respectful, and we must honor them. We must make sure to be very aware of what is going on. Sometimes you don't know what you say, but you have to still keep that connection. And that's why it's very important for people not to break hands, because when you hold hands, you have a very specific connection that you create. You have a circle that you create. You have energy that flows through you. They break that connection, then that energy starts to spiral. That energy starts to go other places, and then the connection becomes weaker, and then your messages become weaker because you cannot reach necessarily the same way, because you have it set a very specific way to bring messages. And so I also, I'm just rambling, y'all, but I also make sure to have an intent, make sure to have a goal in mind of who or what we're going to be connecting with, and make sure that it's always a positive and uplifting situation. I do not connect with people, especially not in a seance situation. I don't connect with people who have suicide.
No.
I don't connect with, really don't connect with children, like young children, and recent deaths. I don't do that. I don't even do that on any level, really, because I'm a firm believer that recent death, that spirit needs time, but more so the physical, the people left here, they need more time to handle that experience, to process it, because if they initially connect with those who have passed over, then they don't really have that distinction, that separation, that they're actually dead.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what I do. And there are times where you can eventually communicate with someone who has experienced a harmful, a very tragic death, but it's usually after they have healed, and the medium should, take time to discern that, and make sure that that's appropriate, because spirit can heal. So when people don't know that they've died, when they've had tragic and very harsh experiences, sometimes it takes them a while to heal and process through that. Sometimes they never do. So it's very important to set the tone, to make sure that you are going to connect with something that's uplifting, and a higher state of being. And disconnecting, I honor the spirit. I thank them. I give them blessings. I thank everyone present for being a part of the experience. I make sure I ask them not to, leave hands yet. Then I walk them through a meditation. I walk them through a grounding, something that can help bring them back in their own body, and then I'll do like a golden sun, which I've talked a lot before on my page and other pages and everywhere. Is basically you take the image of a golden sun, you place it above your head, you put the present date, present location, then you fill it with happiness, fill it with present time, present moment, fill it with luxury, good vibes, anything, just fill it, and then have them crack it open and have them pull, let it trickle down through their crown and fill their body to you know, their feet, and then have them tip over and comb off the excess. And that helps them become present in their body. That helps them feel like they've participated in something. And then you can break hands, release that energy.
I like that. I do. And, you know, as people are departing before they leave the room, some cedar is a wonderful cedar smudge stick. You can do sage again. There's so many things, but I like to kind of smudge stuff. Also, I like to have my spotter burn something like lavender or you know, copal is really good. Some kind of incense is going to kind of clear the air while I'm doing the winding down. You know, right. That way, even you know, some people don't want to be smudged. Some people are like, okay, you've already smudged me once, quit. So, you know, so that helps clear the energies and clear them as well.
And, you know, you could, depending on the event, depending on what's being invested, you could actually give them a little tumble of rose quartz, black tourmaline, and smoky quartz. Those three together, rose quartz will keep you like heart-centered. It reminds you of compassion, unconditional love, and very subtle energy. It reminds you of the experience that you had, the information that you processed, and the spirits you connected with. It gives you that love connection, that very compassionate essence. Black tourmaline and smoky quartz helps to transmute negative thought patterns, negative energy, any sort of like hurt or pain that was, you know, expressed. That is so weird. Anything that is being processed, it helps to really take that, channel it, and transmute it into something a little more beneficial. You know, so you have those working together. You have it benefiting each individual that participated. And we know that crystals scientifically have energy that they, you know, they express. So when someone has it on them, it connects with the energy of their body, and it makes it just helps so much. So you know that they're going to be leaving, and they're not going to leave with spirits attached.
Right, exactly, and that's really important. You know, you don't want anyone to have a bad experience. You want it to be something that's pleasant and something that's fun. You want people to want to do this again. You know, especially if this is a way, you know, a service that you offer.
Right.
You definitely want them to have a nice experience, so they'll invite you back again. You know, so it is a lot of fun, y'all. I have had so much fun at seances, even whenever I was really naive and dumb, when I was young and doing things all kinds of wrong.
Yeah.
You know, it was still a fun experience. Granted, whenever I was younger, it was more, oh my God, that just scared the shit out of me experience. And now that I'm older and more experienced, usually it's very pleasant. Everyone's very happy. They connected with people they wanted to connect with. And they have a very good outlook about it. You know, it's even better whenever it's whenever it's people that need closure that they didn't know they needed. You get a lot of that, you know, and people are very emotional afterwards, and so definitely prepare yourself for that. People can be very emotional, even if it's in a pleasant experience and they're happy, they can still be emotional. Happy, you know, being extremely happy is a very strong emotion. So you will get some emotional folks. So just don't freak out when that happens. Right. They don't want to see you freaking out, because then they're going to be like, oh no, what is something wrong with me?
Right.
And it's totally normal.
Right. And, you know, to prepare yourself, especially if you're going to do this as a service, and if you're going to do this with, you know, in general, it's really good for you to have read books on grief and processing grief and anything like that. That is just so weird. Anyways,
I know, I've got some stuff going on over here that's just like
all of that stuff, you know, grief, healing, how to heal grief or processing grief, anything like that. It will help you to connect with people. It'll help you to maybe be of service in that way. So it's good to be educated on such things when you know that you're going to be dealing with that. But I would say, like, once you break the circle, it's time to clean that space. Don't let it linger. Get rid of all the shit. Put it back to normal. Don't allow your setup to stay the same, to remain there. Get that shit back to the way it was. Make it normal, and allow the energy to go back to its original state.
Yes, definitely. You don't want anything lingering about, and you kind of have a portal there. It may be a temporary portal, but it is a portal, and if you're doing seances this time of year when the veil is thin, you don't want to leave a hole in the veil right there. You know, because when you're gone, if that's not your home, or if it is your home, which is sucks even worse, you know, anything can come through if you don't close it out right. So I definitely, like Michael said, put everything back the way it was, vacuum really well, sweep up whatever you need to do to get, especially if you put anything on the floor. Sage that shit, cleanse that shit out, y'all. You know, salt it. I like to carry, because a lot of times you don't want to carry a whole bag full of stuff. So which is why I like smaller smudge sticks that are, you know, kind of a mini smudge stick. And I like to carry a bottle of salt water. You know, already made up, and just kind of sprinkle it around the corners and stuff like that. Or even holy water, blessing oil, any of that stuff.
Florida water.
Huh?
Florida water.
Florida water, yes, Florida water is great. I like salt water because to me salt is like the anti-spirit element, you know? That shit's going to bust through everything. So I like organic sea salt, and the coarser to me, the less processed, the better, the more potent. Right. And I just dissolve it in some warm water in a bottle, and I'll have like an 8-ounce bottle. It's nothing big, and just sprinkle it around, and it really helps to clear shit out. I like to open windows too if it's not too cold outside. Let some fresh, new air.
Yeah, I like that. And, you know, another tip before we start closing this shit out, but something to consider is, depending on where your location is, if there are a lot of mirrors around, I cover them.
Yes.
If I'm channeling, and if there are mirrors around, and there's like a lot, or even I just cover them, because I don't want that. Mirrors are portals. We already know that. And so as you create your circle, if you do all that, you know that there's going to be something watching and looking at it. And if you're creating a positive and uplifting atmosphere, there is definitely a chance that something not so great is going to be trying to step through a mirror of sorts, because they are portals. And when you create a very positive, good vibe, a beacon of light, everything's attracted to it. Mm-hmm. So you just have to be careful, be aware. And this is going to sound super weird, and it just depends on what I feel. But if it's a super small place, sometimes I will take like Florida water with like pink salt, and I'll go pour it in the toilet.
Yeah.
Bathrooms have, like, you know, bathrooms have very distinct energy, and if it's a very small place, the energy transfers. So bathrooms are, like, to me, are very weird portals. You have the mirror, you have I don't know. There's just something weird about bathrooms and spirit.
Running water, mirror, all that kind of flowing, portal-y energy.
Yeah. And if the toilet seats up, I put it down. That's just me, but it just depends. It depends. You have to assess the situation. You have to assess your environment, and you have to make the right decision for you. And these are just things that I picked up that, you know, you might you benefit from.
You know, if they have a small place but they have a decent like back porch, I'll even take it on the back porch instead of doing it in a small place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael. You got that. But yeah, I will have set up everything outside, on a back porch. You know, it's awesome if it's screened in back porch. If it's not, you know, that's fine, just a covered space or whatever. I don't mind doing that. Um, Outside is different than inside, and not just the place. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot more energy around, so I definitely do make sure I have a good circle. Use something like what Michael had talked about, the pink Himalayan salt with the Dittany, and that, because you have more than just human spirits outside.
Right.
You know, that's why I like a covered area. To me, it gives it, that's connected to the house, so you still have that house energy, not as much open, all kinds of elementals and other spiritual energies floating around.
Right.
But I have done some outside on back porches, and those are interesting. They're a lot of fun. It's just you have to remember you're in a bigger area.
Right.
Because you're all in the whole outside.
We should we might maybe do another video eventually sometime and talk about how to utilize like graveyard dirt and
oh yes, yeah, graveyard dirt. Mm-hmm.
But that's something that I think is a whole different ball game, a whole different experience, and something that is not necessarily for people who are starting now.
Yeah.
Anyways,
that's a whole thing.
Yeah, we'll eventually do that. Maybe how to conduct another type seance for other things.
Yeah.
But if y'all love seance, if you have done one, if you have been to one, please do share in the comment section below and let us know your experiences. Let us know what you love about them. If you conduct them, let us know how you prep, or any tips and things that you would love to share with people. If you have a book or if you have a video that you've done or you like that's been beneficial to you, share it with us. We would love to know your thoughts and your experiences with conducting and performing and witnessing a seance.
Yes, do a video response. We want to see videos, y'all. Do a video response. Let us know about your experiences or how you would do it differently, or certain herbal blends or oil blends that you like to utilize for seances. We would love to hear about it.
Yes, absolutely. So we appreciate all of you. Thank you for being a part of the Deviant Witchery experience. This is super fun, and it means a lot to us, and we hope that you can benefit from anything that we share. We love sharing. But until next time, y'all, we will see you later. Peace.
Bye.